Live from New York, it's Asking Engineers.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Ask Engineers. There's two engineers here tonight, me and special guest, Kate Hartman.
Hi.
Hi. We'll be talking about what she's up to, why she's awesome and everyone cares, and all sorts of exciting other things on the show tonight.
Yeah.
Tell them what's on tonight's show.
On tonight's show, the code is Hartman. Congratulations, Kate.
You have your own code.
Yeah.
I've made it.
Show and tell. People around the world showing and sharing your projects. LADYADA will go over those and more. Pack the mailbag will stop by. Read letters that you sent in. Adafruit Jobs Board, the best place online to post your job if you're a maker company, or post your skills if you're looking to work at a cool maker company. Time travel. Look back in the world of hackers, makers, artists, engineers, educators. If they did something interesting, they're probably on time travel. Wearables. 3D printing, Raspberry Pi, new products. We'll answer your question. We have a top secret tonight. Yay!
Stay tuned.
We have a trivia question. We'll give something away. All that and more on Ask an Engineer. All right. Okay, let's pay some bills first.
Okay, we're gonna rock out.
Yeah, codes Hartman just gets you 10% off in the Adafruit store all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. This is everything.
We don't actually have Kate in the store.
No.
You
Well, no,
can't-
technically Kate is in the store right now.
I mean, she's in the store. You cannot purchase her, but she is the honorary guest, and this is the honorary guest code.
Yeah. So that's
Congratulations.
Thanks.
We changed the free deals, as we said. It's $200.
We warned you.
Yeah, UPS ground and perma proto. So that's going on. Good deal.
Still get free stuff, but not as much free stuff.
Same day is in New York City. You know what's funny? I have a fun side story. So you were at ITP.
Yeah.
And back in the day when we were an apartment company,
Yeah.
there were folks that were going to classes and their finals were due, and they came to our apartment and they were like, "Please let us in. I need an XB."
It was
Right.
always
And
an XB.
and, yeah.
They always broke their XBs
There was
the night
something always,
before.
and it was like 1 a.m. It was
Yeah.
just like,
Oh, no,
it was
really?
crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And at the time, this was like, it wasn't that long ago. But at the time,
I
we're
don't
like,
even know how they got in the
one day
building.
we'll have same day delivery.
Right.
And now we finally have it.
Oh, that's so exciting.
And a lot of universities, and especially like advertising agencies,
Yeah.
who would email and say, "Can I come by? Can we shop there or whatever?"
Mm-hmm.
We're in New York. We're 2 blocks away or whatever. We can't. We're not actually even allowed to have folks in as retail customers because we're a factory. And so we finally have that. So I thought you'd.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It wasn't you that was asking, or anyone on your team back when you were at ITP.
Okay, good. Well, we'll use it at ITP campus here.
And I did let them get in next week because there was this desperation. It was,
There was crying.
There was a lot of crying.
Wow.
There was
Yeah.
insanity. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we got that going on. Programming note: this is Ask an Engineer every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, and Show and Tell every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Desk of LADYADA is going strong this week. I'm starting to do a little bit of recap. So this week, what did you do? You did a couple things.
First off, you made this really lovely pink graphic. So you have a next speaker that you got off eBay, and you wanted me to make it work with your current Mac.
Yes.
And it has like this weird arcane next connector. So what we did instead is we upgraded it to be a USB-powered audio device. So you plug it in, just looks like a USB speaker. So we got that working, and it was successful. And then now you use it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I wish it used a lightning cable because that'd be a new arcane connector.
Not ready for that
instead of
yet.
an old
We
arcane.
could. I mean, if you get a lightning audio connector, but you know what?
Yeah.
USB is nice, easy. You can use it on any operating system.
Yeah, so that's on youtube.com/Adafruit or twitch.tv/Adafruit. And then also, this is, I think, is the first. We used a thermal camera, we had a microscope, and you did SMT soldering.
Yeah, I soldered up a Metro M0 prototype, and while I was soldering, I also tried to do hot air because we have the desk back, so I got out my hot air station and did the QFN with hot air. And you had the thermal camera, so you took some thermal video. And it was pretty good. It actually was like detecting the temperature at like 500, the soldering iron I detected at 600 degrees and the hot air at like 200. So it actually was doing a pretty good job.
So we have those. So check that out. And we'll probably be doing a couple more this week. So new show.
Yep.
Okay, Chantel. Big night.
We had so many people.
Who's on it?
Okay, so for Tony D, who was doing a demo with Circuit Playground. People who've been watching from Desk of LADYADA have seen me work on Circuit Playground. It's our new educational board. And he ported Fermata to it and added functions for all the extras on the Circuit Playground, the NeoPixels, the buzzer, the light sensor, the audio, and all that good stuff. So you can use Fermata directly to talk to it. So maybe you're going to use Node or Johnny 5 to talk to Circuit Playground. You don't actually have to write any code on the board itself. You can write that on your computer. So that's kind of cool. Noah and Pedro showed off their project that's going to be live tomorrow, the Pi Girl 2, which is just awesome. It's a Pi 2 video game emulator, and it has a custom PCB for an easy build. Previous versions, we cut up a Super Nintendo controller. This time it's a custom PCB, so it's like super easy, less wiring, frustration, and also shoulder buttons on the back, so you can play SNES games. Also, they 3D printed their own chair. It looks like cheese. Nice cheesy chair. Chris Young talked about a 2-year journey to make accessibility technology for himself. He's used sticks and joysticks before, and now he's not able to, so he has to develop new technologies to make it so he can still use his computer and his wheelchair. So he's doing like BLE stuff, and it was actually kind of neat. He used the HID BLE capabilities of the Bluefruit to put the iPhone in accessibility mode. You can actually use his iPhone with like 3 large switches. So it's really advanced accessibility hacking. Like it's definitely, you can see like 5 years from now you will be able to buy this maybe, but he's just developing what he needs, and he's his own customer, so he knows exactly what he wants. Brian B showed off his live Apple Tips app, and he also wants to build a Linux distribution. And then Tucker showed off 2 projects. Him and his friend have a solar-powered battery charger that he built for one of his professors at school, or teachers at school. And then he's also working on a speaker project for a talent show. He's going to get that working. Seth has a robot with 2 offset motors. And so when the robot turns on, it vibrates around because the motors, they don't have wheels. Instead, they vibrate, and so it kind of moves forward, made out of, it looks like a couple of recycled paint sticks and such, and maybe some sensors as well. Satchel built his own spectrometer with a CD diffraction grating, and he used it to measure the spectrum, the light spectrum of spinach that I guess he extracted into some alcohol, and then he shone light through it and saw what the absorption spectrum was. And you can see there's a spectrum, a graph for chlorophyll, and you can actually see it. Like spinach has a ton of chlorophyll in it, so you can actually see that it's in there. So that's kind of neat. He said it worked really well, and he's doing whiskey and wine to do some experiments in whether the spectrum of the whiskey or the wine affects how it tastes. Like, or is there any correlation? We'll find out. And it also sounds like fun. Yeah. Mike Savage showed off his hacker makerspace in British Columbia, Canada. It's called the Open Source Tech Zone, and it's a small room, but they're getting some tools. There's some lights up. They're going to do some repair work, and they're just having a good time, making a really nice place to make and hack. Hopefully, more people will join up, and they'll have a happening space. Craig made a Nintendo Nintendo Entertainment System controller, like a classic NES controller, 3D printed a new back and shoved a Pi Zero in there, and it just basically is a plug-and-play emulation station game, so you can play games just by plugging HDMI and USB. So it's kind of neat, and it's its own controller, so that's cool. And then also he had an assistant, and she really liked playing Gauntlet, and she loved 3D printing, so it's neat. And then C. Scott talked about his nanosynth. He's going to do a revision where he turns an experimenter kit. He also has been playing around with the split plus minus 12 volt power supply we have in the store, and he says it works. So good. Thanks.
Okay. All participants on the show and tell get an SCN on the show and tell sticker. All you have to do is email support@adafruit.com and we will send you out on. To get on the show and tell, just go to google.com/+Adafruit and look for the post every week on Wednesday. And because we have so many people in the show and tell circle, this screenshot is from when we had 476.
There's way more.
Now we have over 550. So we post a link and you click the link, which is actually a lot easier anyways. So just check it around 7:30, but do let us know that you're going to come on the show and tell. Sometimes it's a full house, which was really good. So just try back.
Yeah, everyone should. Oh, wait, sorry, I forgot one more thing. C. Scott also told us about Alice Bennett, who was a pharmacist in his hometown, and he said she was really amazing and awesome and doesn't get enough credit for being a
born in
great
1900 all the way up to 1995. Full life that apparently she taught everybody in the area about pharmacy.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Okay,
mailbag.
Yeah, let's do this mailbag. Hello,
So,
have a letter for you. It's
so
not legal notice. Okay.
Well, I can explain this. Okay, we have people who send us letters, and we read them at State of the Fruit. You're going to be in the meeting on Friday.
Yeah.
And so we would get these and we post them up on our site, and then we'd also read them in the company. And then we said, well, we should put these on the show. So this
Totally.
is. And then we have. Well, it was just an excuse to make a little icon that looks like an envelope. Like you don't get a chance to really see the little shoes.
It reminds me a little bit of
Shoes are really
when you go to like a wings place and it's like a chicken eating wings and it's a little bit like that.
Oh, Mr. Clucky, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, this is from Peter. He says, I recently purchased some bits from your online store for the first time. I noticed the shipping charges are the cheapest I've ever seen to Australia and UPS when using any of the top 3 UPS, FedEx, DHL. Excellent quick service. Thank you, Peter.
Okay. Yeah,
Thanks, Peter.
We have good rates because we have a lot of volume. So we pass those savings on to you. We actually don't charge.
We do not charge
more than what we are charged.
What you get as a quote for shipping is what we pay for shipping.
Yeah. Okay. Made for Jobs Board. So if you have skills and you want to get hired, or if you're a company and you want to hire someone with those amazing maker skills, we got them. LADYADA this week.
This is an embedded engineer job in Leeds, UK. This is from Nick Gregory. It's a full-time job, and he says, like the challenge of doing smart things armed with only a handful of sensors and a low-power CPU, we're looking for smart, dedicated people who want to work as part of a team that's changing the way the world thinks about home security. At Cocoon, you can make a difference solving challenging problems with a group of hardworking people who are experts in their field, offering you the opportunity to grow as quickly as we do. We're looking for great embedded hardware and software engineers. Join the Cocoon team, https:/cocoon.life/careers. So if you're in the UK and near Leeds, check it out. Get a job, hardware and software. And firmware too, sure. Everybody's welcome.
Okay, we're going to skip around a little bit because we got a bunch of stuff tonight. Let's go and just, we have to say it because it's happened, is in the Arduino and open source world, you'll hear about this soon. Microchip bought Atmel for billions of dollars.
I think they accepted I think
it was going to be Dialog, and
Yeah.
now it's Microchip.
I think they accepted it. It hasn't gone through yet, but it's probably going to. I mean, like, remember we reported on when we thought that GameStop was going to buy ThinkGeek, but then at the last minute and it was like done, then Hot Topic came in and snapped them. So they could change. It could change again. Maybe TI will come and buy Atmel. But as of right now,
so I can send
it's in play.
So I can send this link to someone at Microchip or Atmel later. What's the best outcome for you as someone who buys lots of chips, has a maker company, likes open source? Like, if you can ask for one thing with this merger, what would it be?
Well, I mean, I really like Atmel chips, and I haven't used Microchip in a long time. Microchip has gone on a purchasing spree. I think as long as they maintain the good pricing and distribution for Atmel, I think that would be great. I mean, I think Atmel is more of an asset to Microchip than the other way around. I mean, I don't believe they're going to discontinue Atmel chips. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, there's millions and millions of people using them, but hopefully, the Microchip has backing. I mean, Atmel in the past has had some financial questions, about whether they could maintain profitability. So having Microchip back them up and maybe pay for the expenses of running a chip company, it's expensive. So hopefully together they will be able to do more and get more out. And maybe there will be less competition between the two. Instead, they'll have one really good line of chips. Okay. I mean, Atmel started going into ARM cores anyways.
Okay. Kate, as a maker, And as someone who uses a lot of Atmel stuff, do you have any requests in this mega merger?
Yeah, I mean, I think just maintaining the availability of the chips
Yeah.
that are super useful. Like, you don't want to see the tools you use go away.
Wow.
So,
Okay. I only have like one big request is when you see these mergers, they always talk about the cost savings. Okay, pass it along to the customers, and please don't just like lay off tons of people.
Yeah.
Like don't like there's efficiencies that you need to do, but surely like two well-functioning companies, assuming they're well-functioning, you can maximize. And I like to see the cost savings, but it'd be great to see the prices go lower so we can use more of them.
I hope it also, the availability. They just Microchip bought Microl, and we buy Microl regulators, and like because they were purchased, they're not. The stock is like dropped out.
Yeah.
Like there's no stock availability, and they're like, oh yeah, it's because we're like migrating to the distribution from Microchip, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that's lovely, but like I need a couple reels of these parts.
Yeah.
So it's not like screwed us over, but it was a little bit of a squeeze because we had to start looking for alternatives.
Yeah.
Because what if this doesn't work out with the change in distribution model?
Yeah.
So, I don't
Well,
know.
it'll be interesting if mergers and acquisitions only benefit the shareholders, or do they benefit the customers? I think if you put customer first, the shareholders always get benefited. If you put the shareholders first, the customers always don't get benefited. So thus concludes Maker Business.
We'll see. I mean, by the way, I wouldn't be surprised if, Dialogue was a done deal. Now Microchip is a done deal.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe another suitor will come along.
Yeah. Okay. Let's jump right into chat with Kate.
Okay. Chat with Kate.
hi.
Come closer.
Okay.
As close as you can. Okay.
All right.
Hi. Ow.
Yeah, and this is in our, I'd say, open source hardware section.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Maybe open source hardware. Why not?
Yeah.
You belong in every section.
Aw.
Okay. Thank you for waiting so patiently.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's fun being here.
can you give us the few sentence description of who you are, why you're wonderful, what you do, and how people may have heard of your stuff before?
Oh, well, I am usually an associate professor at an art school in Toronto called OCAD University. Although I'm on sabbatical this year, so I'm traveling a bit. And I work a lot in wearables. I wrote a book called Make Wearable Electronics. And
Which we have in the store, I think.
Yes,
Yeah,
which is in the
we do.
store.
So pick that up,
Use
10%
your
off.
discount code.
Hartman.
Yeah. And I work a lot in wearables, but I've also done, Internet of Things stuff back in the day. I worked on a project called Botanicals very early on for plants. And these days I'm doing a lot more wearables that deal with social interactions and people being weird with each other.
And then do you teach classes at this university?
I do. I teach and I run a lab there called the Social Body Lab.
Okay.
And then I swing back to New York every summer and I run a program called ITB Camp.
Okay. Yeah, ITB Camp. That's popular here in New York.
Yeah.
I think I mentored one. I don't remember. It's been a while, but I think I mentored at the end. I was like helping them decide whether it was awesome or not. It was awesome. Okay, so you have these classes you teach, and now you're on sabbatical. So what are you doing? Is it a year-long sabbatical?
It's a year-long.
Wow, a full year.
Yeah.
And what are some of the exciting things you're doing?
So I was hanging out in New York this past fall, and then I'm heading to San Francisco next week.
What's in San Francisco?
I'm doing a residency at Pier 9 Autodesk.
Okay.
So using all the big fun machines.
Okay.
Hanging out next to Instructables.
Okay.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All
But
right,
during
sweet.
the fall, I did all kinds of things. I hung out at ITP. I learned how to make shoes, which
Okay.
is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn
Cobbling.
how to make wearables from scratch because
Okay.
it makes it a lot easier to incorporate those electronics.
Shoe wearable.
Yeah.
I think there's a Kickstarter that it's a knit shoe that has like 3D printed soles.
Oh yeah.
And with how far wearables have come in the last few years, I think being able to do your own like fitness stuff and movement tracking and
Totally.
3D printing
Yeah.
and the materials, it seems like we're finally
Getting there.
Yeah,
for
and-
like better integration.
yeah, like before it was like, oh, the Nike lab is 3D printing a shoe. Oh my gosh.
Right.
Yeah.
And now it's
right.
like, well, you can kind of do that now.
Yeah.
So that'll be neat.
Yeah.
So when do you head off to San Francisco? Is it next week?
Yep.
That's pretty fast.
Yeah.
All right, so you're here this week, San Francisco next week.
Yeah.
All right, well, we have some of your projects.
Cool.
So let's talk about them.
Yeah, tell us
Maybe you
a
can talk
little
about
bit about these. I'll go through them and you can just say what we see on the screen here.
Sure. I've been doing a lot of work with muscle sensing this last while, and also that's what Becky and I are working on this week. And so these kind of really simple muscle activated wearables, but using them as a way to be kind of expressive. So this project is called Monarch, and it's this shoulder-based operation here.
Just go to this.
Yeah. So basically, it's activated by your bicep muscle. It has a bunch of different modes. This is kind of like the clap on, clap off mode. But when you activate it, you kind of expand your profile, and it can be used to communicate in a lot of different ways.
Great for cosplay too. I mean,
Super great for cosplay.
It sounds like fun, like
Yeah.
having wings that flap when you move your arms.
Yeah. So with these, this is the first version, and we've also got some photos of the second version. But we like to kind of iterate and also make multiples, because I think wearables get interesting when there's more than one in a room. Particularly if you're thinking about how people relate to each other socially. So this first version, we made 4, and we did a bunch of user testing, put people in different scenarios, and it was cool to see like how they used it to express anxiety or enthusiasm or anger or like all these different ways. So yeah.
That's great. Okay, and we have some more projects here. So the next one, this one is Nautilus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that one's kind of using the same tech base, but it's operating this hood. So this is
Do you
kind of more
shrug?
about when you're wanting to turn inward, you can give yourself a little shrug, and then your hood will go up and kind of protect you from the world.
I like the leather work. That's kind of like the nicest part. Is like these halters.
It's really fun. So these are all Social Body Lab projects, and we've got a great team of people who have all these different skill sets. So the textiles and the leather work and coding and circuits and all that.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's neat. Oh, hood.
Yeah, I like the combination of, well, at least this is my impression of it, is kind of design noir, where there's a social piece to it, but now there's bio that's going in with it. Like Rabney and
Dun and Rabney?
Dun and Rabney, they had objects, but Arduino wasn't out yet.
Yeah.
And you couldn't do more like this. You could build and deploy into a social
Right.
setting right now. It's not just so out there.
Yeah.
You can actually do it. And I think that's what I see with this. Like you can see those two
Yeah.
kind of interacting together, and it's like, oh, you can do a phone, and they can
Totally.
text each other or
Yeah, and
something.
we've been kind of moving more in the speculative design direction, and so we're actually working on a new project that I don't have any photos of yet, but just called Inquisitive Devices, and it's all these kind of like design proby, wearables that are kind of like what ifs, physical what ifs, where it's like,
Yeah.
what if we related to each other this way? Could it be weird? Could it be creepy? But what does it feel like when we actually get to have that interaction?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to explore these because no one could have guessed that there was going to be like Bluetooth headsets and the way we're
Totally.
all on our phones and what that dynamic means. I remember
Yeah.
if you heard someone's voice while they were walking, you're like, whoa, what's going on? Now
Exactly.
it's so common
Yeah.
that no one even thinks twice if they hear someone. They're not talking to themselves. They're probably talking on the phone.
Right.
So as all these devices become more ambient, like will we all be tapping our shoulder for some reason?
Right, right.
Or like we're not.
And just seeing how it affects
Yeah.
how we behave and all that stuff.
That's funny.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, and as far as your book and some of your projects, where can people find out more? Is it just your URL,
Yeah.
or where can they keep track of?
I'm on Twitter,
Okay.
and my just katehartman.com and socialbodylab.com, pretty straight up. So.
Okay. Straight up.
Yep.
Check it out, katehartman.com. So can we see some more photos of the
Yeah.
there's
So we-
These are like the newer versions.
This
which
is
are
the new
nice.
Monarch?
This is new model.
Yeah, so
Oh,
that
that's
one's
really
Ooh,
nice.
fancy.
Yeah, so we're trying to get more into working out the kinks of the physical production. So these are a bit more streamlined. It's like digitally printed fabric from Spoonflower and
Yeah.
some nice laser cut leather and yeah. So that's the whole Social Body Lab crew.
It's kind of neat because you can even go down to the materials with what's printed on them,
Yep.
in addition to the electronics and the connectivity.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. And then this.
That's the insert that goes into the little flappy wing things, and
Like
so it's
folded, yeah.
it's like a hyperbolic paraboloid, and then you kind of iron the pleats into it and starch it up.
Gotcha.
Makes a nice expanding and contracting form.
Very cool. Okay, well we're gonna keep diving into the show.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And you're here all week at Adafruit.
Yeah, all week.
And
Okay.
you can ask her questions when we get
Yeah, it
questions.
says store
Save
up
up your questions.
your wearable questions and more. And I'd say like, how would you? Well, is it social wearables? Like how do
Yeah.
your work is getting fun to try to classify, but it covers a lot. Is it social wearables?
Social wearables, yeah.
Okay.
That's enough for now.
Yeah, and then for I guess the folks who have been around for a while, you also were on the team that got plants talking.
Yeah, as part of the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like one of the first like Internet of Things projects that really captured the imagination, and it was botanicals.
Yeah.
That was a lot. That was like almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Woo!
Wow, we've been at this for a while.
Yeah. So this project, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was basically a phone system.
Yep.
And the plants would call you when they wanted to be watered, or you could call them.
Yeah, you could call them and learn more about them, and then they would call you. It was like an asterisk server, and then eventually we got them on Twitter.
Yeah.
And that was interesting as well. I think they were one of the first non-humans on Twitter.
Yeah, and it was one of the first kits that we had too.
Yeah.
So very cool. I like to watch the people who are always doing something. Like it's like, okay, fine, like we'll use an asterisk box or like whatever.
Yeah, that was like really cool for like a year or two there. Like almost every project was asterisk box based.
I know.
It's kind of neat. Lots of phone tree projects.
And it's great. Like we were looking at the Adafruit IO stuff this week, and I was like, "This is so awesome."
This would have saved me so much time.
I know.
Yeah. We have push and pull too, so
Totally,
you'll be able to.
You can water your plant.
Yeah, what would be neat with some of your social wearables is the interactions can push and pull.
Right.
So like we kind of made it for us.
Yeah.
And we thought that a lot of other people would like it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to using it. I'm also looking forward to teaching with it because I think it'll be great for my students.
Educators are just like, we can't ever do an Internet of Things teaching.
Totally.
Ever, because there's no way to just like log in and do stuff. It's either a paid tier or it's a free service and it goes out of business.
Exactly. And
Right
you've
away.
like built up
You're like,
curriculum around it and then it's done.
Yeah. So one person had a question. Is your book on digital format in any way?
Yeah, I mean you can get the ebook.
Okay. Through O'Reilly.
Yeah, through O'Reilly.
Probably through Safari, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so let's hop back into the show. Cool. All right. 8:32, we're doing it pretty good. All right, so LADYADA.
Yes.
Speaking of open source hardware, we have an update for our Bluefruit app.
Yep, we just updated the video to actually match what is going on if you want to do DFU updates. And Kate Hartman made a lovely little video so you can easily update your Bluefruit modules when we come up with new firmware.
There you go.
Updating the firmware in your Bluefruit LE module is easy with our Android application. Simply connect to your module using any of the available modes, and if a firmware update is available, it will be proposed to you automatically. Click the Install button, and the application will begin the firmware update process over the air. The application will connect to your board and cause the device to reset into DFU mode. You'll know that you're in DFU mode because the red status LED will start to blink at a faster rate, and the blue connection LED will turn on once the connection starts. The firmware update will take about a minute to complete. Once the transfer is done, your device will reset, and it'll advertise itself again as Adafruit Bluefruit LE. To check the version, simply connect to your device again, go into the info panel, and you can look at the device information to check your version number and make sure it's what you expected. In this case, we've updated to version 0.6.7. Your board is now up to date, and you can take advantage of any new features that we've added in the latest firmware release.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, K-Town.
Next up, learn@adafruit.com. There are. Well, do you know how many there are?
It says 917.
917 tutorials. Okay.
Well, now I know to look because you
Yeah.
put it
I put
on.
it over there. Okay.
We're getting towards 1,000.
What's new this week?
This week we have that PyGirl 2 tutorial that Noah and Pedro will be showing off tomorrow on 3D Thursday. Build your own handheld Pi 2 powered Game Girl. Play all sorts of emulation station games. This one has a custom PCB, so it's a lot easier to build. Has a little speaker, better audio quality, and shoulder buttons. Also, it's a Pi 2, so it's a quad core. Can do a lot better emulation. The Wi-Fi OLED Featherwing, this is a project that Becky did, and it basically uses our Huzzah Feather and a little OLED board to make a internet-connected badge that has an OLED display, and you can update it and use buttons to select what you want to have it displayed. And so it's kind of like an Internet of Things little mini badge. This is a project from Toyota Cola. This is a Raspberry Pi dashboard. This basically shows how to, basically use the chalkboard or whiteboard, and you put LEDs and motors with like indicator dials, so you can make your own custom dashboard that can display kind of any information you want about the Pi, or you connect to Adafruit.io and have it display like pretty much anything you want. You can use if this and that to grab data like, what's the temperature going to be today, or like, what's the value of my stock portfolio, or like, how's my server load doing? So it's a nice little project showing just how to connect a bunch of LED displays and motors and such to make an adjustable dashboard. And he made it so that when you're done with the whiteboard and you want to reuse the project for something else, just erase it and then you can label it with whatever else you want to have display.
Awesome.
Next up, I had a little tutorial I wrote last Thursday, I think, called MQTT, Adafruit I/O, and You, and it's a tutorial basically covering MQTT and what it is and why you want to use it and how to use Adafruit I/O. And then we also have an Adafruit MQTT library. So if you want to use MQTT with Adafruit I/O or pretty much anything else that uses that protocol, how to subscribe and publish data and how to push and pull data around through it using an Arduino or an ESP8266. Kind of an easy, lightweight protocol, really handy if you want to move data around and you don't want like a full web connection, HTTP connection, and you can also use it with SSL. Kind of nice. And then we have this handy tutorial from Phil B. This is, he went to a costuming conference, and he wanted to take his portable cordless soldering iron from Hacko, but it uses like 6 AAA batteries, and he's like, I don't want to eat through 6 AAA batteries, so instead he made a 3D printed insert that uses a larger lithium-ion battery, like a cylindrical cell, and then a power boost. And he said he could get like 600 solder joints out of it, so like really great for when you take it to a con, and you plug it into USB, and it's USB rechargeable. I don't even know why such a thing doesn't exist. It really should.
I want it in my backpack.
Yeah, see, so 3D print this and put it together, but it's a fun little project, not too difficult, and then when you're done, you'll have this very nice USB rechargeable cordless iron. So handy.
Okay. All right, next up, time travel. Look back at makers, artists, hackers, engineers, and this week, this one, I showed it to you right before we started, and I said, oh, this is someone from MIT. Do you know her? And you're like, not only do I know her, but...
She was my LA for 6001, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because I remember there was the first class I took, and she was the lab instructor, and she was awesome. She was really great, and she taught me a lot about programming in Scheme, where at the time it was done in Scheme, now it's done in Python. And she does algorithms work, and when we did BFS versus DFS type searching, she was like super into it, and got me really excited about it too. So I like algorithms.
Okay.
And she was a great instructor.
That's cool.
And also a brilliant computer scientist in her own right.
Yeah, that's neat that you took classes, you learned a bunch, you went and did a company, the company has a show, the show now has her.
Yeah.
It's a perfect circle.
Yeah, it's been quite a while since I took that class, but I remember Nancy Lynch was
All right, well maybe we can email her.
Yeah, we'll be like, hey.
Hey, Nancy.
Hey.
All
Hi.
right. All right, wearables. Kate, you saw this video already.
I did.
All
We're
right.
going to see it again.
We're going to see it again. All right, this is the Wi-Fi OLED badge.
Yep.
Okay.
Welcome to another Adafruit wearable electronics project. Today we're making a magnet brooch using the Wi-Fi Feather and the Featherwing OLED display. This one displays today's forecasted high temperature that it pulls from the internet using If This Then That and Adafruit.io, as well as my favorite David Bowie quote. Let's see how to put it together. To solder the header pins onto the Featherwing OLED, cut them to size and then position them in a solderless breadboard. This will make it super easy to keep everything in position while you solder it up. After you solder the headers onto your Featherwing OLED display, you can attach it to the feather of your choice. You have to be careful not to solder it on crooked, and to prevent that, you can start with the header pin that's closest to the battery connector, make sure it's in position, and then all the other ones will be easy to make level. A full tutorial with the code running this project is available on the Adafruit Learning System. The first thing you need to do is set up your feed in Adafruit I/O. I created a feed called High Temp, and then created an If This Then That recipe that pulls today's forecasted high temperature from the built-in weather module and pushes that number to the feed I created every day at 7 a.m. You can configure your home Wi-Fi network in the sketch. That way, when your brooch is waiting for you to put it on in the morning, it can gather today's forecast. Since the feed only updates once per day, for prototyping you can manually add a value to the feed to update your brooch. I used the button on the Featherwing OLED display to toggle between modes. One mode is that high temperature mode, the other mode shows my favorite David Bowie quote, and then the third mode functions as a business card. Once the circuit's working the way you like it, you can stick on the magnetic pin back, which is super strong, so it'll stick really easily to your backpack, or like I've got it with my vest here. This is a pretty simple Adafruit I/O project if you're looking for an easy one to get you started, and a fun one at that. What data would you display on your OLED brooch? Let me know in a comment below. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the Adafruit channel here on YouTube.
Okay.
Thanks, Becky.
Don't forget, Wearable Electronics is on every Wednesday at 2 p.m. You can go to youtube.com/Adafruit and check out the show that Kate was on today.
Yeah.
More Kate.
Yep. Okay.
If you have not had enough Kate.
All right, 3D printing. We have 2 videos. Let's show the time-lapse ones from
Okay.
Time-Lapse Tuesday. This is a tabletop.
A little mini one.
Okay, 3D Hangouts is tomorrow at 3 p.m. with Noah and Pedro. And we have 2 videos for Raspberry Pi. We've got the Pi Girl.
Which is a good transition from because 3D printing and
Yeah,
Raspberry Pi.
and then we also have a Raspberry Pi video dashboard. So we'll do the Pi Girl, and then we'll do the dashboard.
Okay, take it away.
Hey guys, Noah here for Adafruit. We got another DIY project for you. Yet another Raspberry Pi game girl, but this time it's for the Raspberry Pi 2. Let's check it out. This is a nice upgrade from our previous Game Boy projects because it's a lot easier to build. The Pi 2 runs Emulation Station, so it can emulate just about anything from a Sega Genesis to a Super Nintendo. Our custom gamepad PCB makes wiring the buttons a whole lot simpler, and it really cuts the build time in half. So if you had some fun with Raspberry Pi and want to take on a project with some challenge, you can learn about making, 3D printing, and of course, building electronics. Our learning guide will walk you through the build step by step and has a circuit diagram along with a ready-to-go SD card image for the Raspberry Pi. You can check out the link in the description. The kit comes with just about everything you need to get started, but you can also get the custom PCB manufactured from Park if you already have some parts on hand. You'll need a few handy tools like some wire cutters, a pan of ice, a soldering iron, and access to a 3D printer. We of course got everything you need in the Adafruit shop. We made the case in Autodesk Fusion 360 so you can modify the design if you want to make your own upgrades. It's free to download and features sketches of all the components so you can reuse them for other projects. We like to think of it like Super Game Girl because the L and R shoulder buttons let you play your favorite Super NES games with some extra buttons to spare. It also uses the quad-core Raspberry Pi 2, which can do a better job of emulating games than the older Pi 1. Audio also sounds a lot better thanks to the improved headphone circuitry on the Pi 2. So there you have it, Pi Girl 2. We really hope you like this project and consider making one yourself. If you have any questions or suggestions for future projects, you can let us know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and be sure to go super retro Pi on that like button, and also consider subscribing to the Adafruit YouTube channel for more 3D printing projects from Adafruit. But until then, remember guys to keep on making. Time to play.
Okay,
Okay, welcome back.
We're back, and we have one more video in the Pi world. This is the Pi dashboard.
Tony D.
There
Wait,
we go.
now that's us.
Yeah. I got it.
This is the Raspberry Pi Physical Dashboard project to visualize metrics using gauges and LED displays. The Pi can drive 7-segment displays that display simple numeric data, like for monitoring a computer. Alphanumeric displays and bicolor bar graphs can show other interesting data too. Or an automotive stepper motor gauge is great for making a dial indicator that the Pi can control. The Adafruit motor hat can drive up to 2 stepper motors, and up to 7 unique LED displays can be connected to the Pi's I2C communication bus. Using whiteboard or chalk foam board, you can build a reusable dashboard by cutting holes for each display. When you want to change the dashboard, just erase the labels and you've got a blank slate for displaying any new data. A small REST API on the Raspberry Pi allows you to change any of the displays using simple web requests, like with the curl command. Make web requests from your favorite programming language to drive the dashboard yourself. See the link to the guide in the description to learn how to build your own Raspberry Pi physical dashboard. What will you
Okay.
I like how the word of the day is fun on that dashboard.
Yeah.
That's useful. It's good to know the word of the day is fun.
Okay.
More fun.
Well, before we go into new products, Kate Hartman, 10% off all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. 10% of everything except for gift certificate and software, because we're not.
But it does include her book.
Yeah.
Good time
Yeah.
to pick up her book.
Yep, and the entire selection of
Wearables. And
I can't wait till we have enough social wearables where we have a category.
With social wearables, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Well, we do carry
Yeah.
muscle sensors, so if you want to build your own,
Yeah, they're back in stock.
yeah, you can make those.
Yeah, maybe when and if you work on a project with Adafruit IO, do like a wish list or something, and we can feature that.
Yeah.
If it's like, oh, here's all the things you need to make a project like this.
Cool.
We have public wish lists, so you can.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
That'd be
idea.
funny.
So you want your own expanding shoulder pads
Yeah.
of doom.
One of the show and tell people who visits Adian, he has the inflatable 3D printed robotics that he does. So that's I was
yeah.
thinking that might be another way to do stuff where it would
Shapeshifty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, I'm just now thinking about inflatable.
Now you're totally in.
Like in crowds, we need to like slowly like push away. Like, please go away.
Like 10-foot long
Yeah,
spikes,
no.
soft spikes, but they're still 10 feet long.
Okay, so LADYADA, it's new product time.
Let's do this thing.
Ready?
It's a new.
Okay,
It's
it's new product time.
Okay.
Let's just dive right in. NeoPixel strips.
We have NeoPixel strips, and these are black flex strips, and they're really neat because they have not just red, green, and blue, but also white pixels as well. So they're kind of a neutral color. I think it's like 4,000 degrees Kelvin or something. Check the product page for the exact or closest approximation of the color temperature of the white LEDs. Basically, it means that instead of trying to make white or a dim white light by mixing red, green, and blue, you can actually have a white LED, and it looks much better and uses a lot less power because it's like one LED instead. So we have this in 60 LED per meter, which is this one. I think that's also 60. Yeah, and then this shows what it looks like lit, and then off, and so you can see it's a black flex PCB, and it comes in the casing. You just use a NeoPixel library that is compatible with RGBW.
Do you want to go to the overhead?
Yeah, sure, you can. This is the 144, so you can see it's purple, and then the white comes in. And it's incredibly bright, so it color cycles between the RGB rainbow, and then it has a white strip that comes through. So just like the photo, but yeah, very bright and very white. Very good if you want to have like lighting, use it for lighting, because then you can have color and white. So like the white is a true white color.
Okay. And we have some other versions it looks
Yeah,
like here as well. So
That's the 144.
Yeah.
So it's 144 LEDs per meter. So it's a lot of LEDs. But it looks really cool, and it's very smooth. And then, so you can show just the strips.
Yeah, so it's even higher density.
So it's, yeah, super high. They're as close as possible. And then that's lit, and this is off. So you can see they're really close. You can cut in between, but they're very, very close together. And then we also have 30 LED per meter. So much farther apart, but less expensive. Maybe you don't need it as much. And then you can just show the animation. So that's 30.
Yeah.
So that's 30 LEDs per meter, and then this is 60 LEDs per meter. Yeah.
Yep.
So you basically decide which one you want. You need like higher density, more expensive, more power, lower density, more flexible. You get more distance for your pixels.
Yeah. Okay. All right, next up.
This is a funky hub. It's a USB hub, works like pretty much any USB 2.0 hub, but it also has Ethernet built in. So it's really, really handy when you want to use it with something like the Pi Zero or the Pi A+, because it gives you Ethernet as well as USB. Now you might be wondering like, well, if I have the Pi Zero and I add this, I should just get the Pi B+ or something. I'm like, yeah, you can, but maybe you want to just temporarily set up your network, connect, do all the stuff you want to do, and then you can disconnect the hub when you're done. Still kind of handy because it's an all-in-one hub, and it's like, sometimes you don't need all 4 ports. Instead of that 4th port, it has a USB to Ethernet converter. And we really like this one. It's compatible with like every operating system on Earth. It's an older chipset called like the AX88725 or something, and it works very well.
It seems like the future where the computer makers just put 1 port on the side.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
they're just good luck.
I mean, the Beagle Bone Black has Ethernet, but like if they made one without, or if you have another single board computer that has USB but doesn't have networking, or maybe it has Wi-Fi built in but on Ethernet, you can swap this in. And Ethernet's just really easy, especially with Linux, compared to Wi-Fi, because you just click in, you're connected. You don't have to like log in and try to figure out what the password is and all that stuff.
Okay. All right, and then one more besides the stars of the show is Kate and you, LadyAda, but we have one more and then one more. So this is from Pi Moroni.
This is, Pi sent us a bunch of stuff for the Pi Zero, and we're slowly getting it in. This is the first of them. This is a very lovely Pi Zero case. It's made out of multiple pieces of acrylic. It's kind of got this sky blue thing going on here. It's got all the cutouts. It has supports. You can use it with, you can solder in a header onto the GPIO port. We also have a case, but this one's nice too. You have multiple options.
Okay, and then this is hot off the press. This is right before we started the show. It's announced. It's here.
Yes, we finally got this module in. So this is a really nice Wi-Fi module from Atmel, which is, I guess, now Microchip. Oh, can you shrink it a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
This is fine too. This is an FCC CE Telec certified module. It has an antenna built in, and it's a nice SPI interface module that Atmel came out with, and it's also in the Wi-Fi 101 shield. But they showed this to me actually like a year and a half ago, and they're like, hey, you want to make something with it? And I'm like, well, when it's stable. And they finally really stabilized it. It's pretty good, and it uses about 300 milliamps when transmitting. What I like about this compared to the CC3000 is it has SSL built in, so you can do secure Wi-Fi connections. It's very, very easy. You just connect to SSL ports, and then it just works. So you don't have to like even set up anything. It has all the certificates burned in already, so it has all the security stuff already done for you. You can update them as well if you want, but they're burned in. You just leave them be. It has 3 indicator LEDs, so you can tell when you're connected, when data is being sent, and there's an error LED, which you should never see lit. It's very, very fast. It connects very quickly to Wi-Fi. It's very, very stable. So using this with an Arduino Zero, we had it running all weekend with an MQTT transmission connection, and basically we just disconnected it. It was running for days, very, very stably. It doesn't have the same flaky disconnects that the CC3000 does, where it like runs out of something inside. Who knows? This one doesn't have that issue, so it's a nice upgrade for if you were using something like a CC3000 or another Wi-Fi module. This can add Wi-Fi to your processor, and it's a lot easier to interface with than an ESP8266, which has like an AT command set, and it's a little confusing and weird, and like you have to like parse the packets very carefully. This is SPI. When you get data, you're not going to drop it. It's not going to get lost or anything. You're going to get it immediately, and also the data transfer is very smooth. So we did some project with the ESP8266 where we're streaming pixel data, and the ESP is kind of starts and stops. It will send you a bunch of data, and then you won't get it for a little bit. For most projects, maybe you don't care, but if you want to have a steady stream of data coming in, this Wi-Fi module is a lot more reliable in that sense. So we paired it with an Arduino Zero, and it works really, really well. And I can even show a little demo.
Let's do it.
So let me turn off the LEDs. So this is Adafruit IO, and it's connected live, and hopefully it'll work. But this is my page, and I have on the overhead, I'll show this. It's an Arduino Zero with this Wi-Fi module and a potentiometer. And when I twist the potentiometer, you can see that the data is being sent. So it's pretty fast. I mean, like I twist it and I let go, and it stops twisting, give it the twist. So it's almost instant updates very, very fast and very, very reliable, and doing this over SSL as well. So kind of nice.
Okay.
Now my potentiometer is just being a little floaty. But do you want to show the overhead real fast? And I'll
Yeah.
Just indicate what it looks like. So, so yeah, this is pretty much it. You just need 6 wires. There's a potentiometer that you can twist. Do you want to zoom in?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna.
Oh, you want
I'm gonna load both up
to? Okay.
live.
You want live?
Yeah,
Live editing.
complicated. All right.
Intense. Okay, so twist from the side. So yeah. Oh wait, I think I just reset it. 1 second. Live demo. So you can see the activity LEDs as well. So yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Live action Adafruit IO. So you can do your interactive stuff. We were doing some Adafruit IO project with the CC3000, and it was it worked, but it was not fun to get working. Whereas with this, it works really well. And this module, you can also use it with the Arduino Zero, but I don't think you can do live stream data like that. I think it's better for like little packets once in a while. I noticed that I think there's some RAM requirements that maybe the Arduino Zero doesn't have. It can connect and like read a web page and get a little bit of data, but I don't think I'm not convinced that it can reliably do constant data transmission. For that, you want something like the Arduino Zero, which is way faster. It has a lot more memory.
Okay. And with that is new products. Thank you, Kate, and thank you, LadyAda, for
Yay.
hanging out with new products. All right. We'll go into a little bit of overtime before we do trivia questions, and there's some Kate questions already. So, you want to do the top secret?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right. This is a treat. Oh, I'm going to do the graphic. I got to do it the right way.
Okay.
Paying all this money for graphics.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what are you going to show this week?
Oh, so the thing about that Wi-Fi module that's so handy is that you can use it in small boards, and so I'm designing a Feather M0 with that Wi-Fi module on it, so you can maybe show it on the overhead.
Yep.
Or you can go to the thing. So this is the board. So this is the prototype. And then hold on.
Let me get rid of IO.
Okay, thanks. So yeah, it has that Wi-Fi module and SMD21, battery charging, and then you can program and debug over USB. And it's going to be more expensive than the ESP Feather, but you get a DAC and you get DMA and SPI and I2C and tons of pins and analog digital converters and a processor that can like do all this stuff without having to also do Wi-Fi in the background. So this is going to be a fun Feather to add on to the family, and of course it'll work with all the add-ons. So hopefully you'll get that out in the next week or two.
All right, and that was top secret. Okay, we're going to open up to questions. I have some that were asked from Kate before.
Okay.
Got these ready. All right.
Trivia time.
No, it's not trivia time. It's regular
Questions time.
Yeah.
Questions. That's what I meant. The question.
All right.
I know.
It is a question.
There's not one question from us. It's many questions from you.
Okay, I'm going to combine a few questions that came in. So there's people that they only know software. They're like Linux, Raspberry Pi, but they want to get into wearable electronics, specifically more on the communication side, like wearables communicating. Mm-hmm. Where would someone even get started?
Like getting wearables to talk with each other?
Yeah. Like what products would you suggest, and what, like, because that's like, it actually seems like there's 15 different things you need to know. So where would you get started?
Sure. I mean, a lot of these boards that are coming out these days are so well put together that there's very little you need to do in terms of the actual electronics for like wiring things up. So that's a really great leg up. I think working with things like the Adafruit IO is going to be really helpful. I don't know, and I mean, earlier during the show and tell, there was talk about like Fermata or something like that, approaching hardware from a more software perspective. So that's a good option as well.
Gotcha. For wireless protocols, do you have a favorite? Do you like Bluetooth? Do you like Wi-Fi? Do you like cellular? Do you have any?
No, I kind of bounce around. I mean, everything's changing so quickly. It's like you can't really lock in on one specific thing. But like I used to use XBs for a really long time, but now that's kind of working more with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, depending on the situation, because wearables are all about where you are, and so depending on where you are and how you're moving about, affects what kind of network you want to connect to.
Gotcha. Are you seeing your work or some of your peers move more towards Bluetooth because everyone has a phone now with Bluetooth? And
Yeah, it definitely makes it a lot easier to, connect to the internet because
You
you're
always have
walking
that.
around, with that connection. So, but then there's a lot to be said for not going through your phone.
Yeah.
Because maybe you don't want everything talking, to each other either for practical reasons or security reasons or whatever. Like maybe you just want separate systems. So that's where
Gotcha.
working with like a phone-based board might be helpful.
And on the wearable show, I used to co-host it with Becky. We would always get asked this question, and this kind of came up in as I'll combine this question too. So how do you choose when doing a project whether you use something like conductive thread or wires? Like
Oh.
which one? Like how do you decide which one? Someone was asking which is your favorite conductive thread, and usually we get asked conductive thread or wires. Which one? When?
Yeah,
How?
yeah. And people think because you're doing wearables, you have to do it a certain way, which is completely untrue. You can use whatever material works for you. So there's different ways to approach it. It's like, one, if it's just a prototype, like what material are you comfortable working with? Because often that can get you started with something faster. But there's situations where conductive thread is really great, but there's situations where it's not, and where you need, reliable connections that are not going to be exposed. Having an exposed circuit, exposes you to a lot of vulnerability. So yeah, my favorite thing lately has been the silicone coated wire because it's kind of like a happy in between where it's nice and flexible, but it's insulated, and that just makes my heart feel good.
Okay. Insulated wires.
Yeah, but oftentimes what's great, depending on the application, is using a hybrid system. So for some things you might use thread. For power in particular, I use wire all the time. And
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay. And then next up is when you're considering a project or how to power it, when do you say I'm going to use rechargeables and when am I going to just use like AA, AAA, or
Sure.
whatever, like a battery pack?
Yeah, for me, I use rechargeables all the time, just because I use that as my standard. I try to work with standard parts for my projects, across my projects, so that when I'm traveling or doing a show, it's all interchangeable. Standard batteries like 9 volts or AA's or AAA's are great when you're handing a project off to someone, so that they don't have to think about charging. But even it's different than it was a few years ago because people are more trained to charge devices now, I think, than they used to be. But if you want to potentially replace a battery and you're somewhere weird, working with a standard that you can find in the store, like the corner store, can be helpful. But generally, I try to work with rechargeable, particularly because there's such good resources available for, recharging and all of that.
Gotcha. Have you played around with any like waterproofing wearables yet?
No, but I would like to. But I haven't done much.
Yeah,
of that
we did
myself.
like a spray coated thing before.
Yeah, I
We've
saw
tried
that.
stuff. Seems like it's the next frontier.
Uh-huh.
After all this gets kind of solved and so easy, then it's like, well, maybe we can 3D print stuff with Ninja Flex.
Totally.
Have you started playing around with 3D printing in some of your work?
By association,
Yeah.
I haven't myself, and that's on my tick list for this next few months.
Yeah,
But,
it was on our
We
list.
have like
and then-
3D printers
well,
at First Build or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It was on our list, and we're like, well, we'll just work with people who are really into 3D printing so they can take our work and then kind of amplify it.
Totally.
So-
Yeah.
And you'll be able to do that next week at Instructables.
Totally.
And they have a new 3D printer that I believe it's one of the few that's completely open source.
The Ember, yeah.
Yeah, the Ember.
They said
great.
I think they open sourced it. I don't know. They said they did.
I think even the materials.
I think so.
Oh,
Because they don't want to be in the 3D printing business. They're in the CAD business.
Right.
Okay. All right. And then here's a question for you, Lady. Is there
Okay.
a change log for the Bluefruit firmware?
Yes, there is. It's on the Bluefruit tutorial page.
Okay.
It's firmware. It's under firmware. It's like the firmware change log, and it should be linked off of every page. If not, you can go to the Bluefruit UArt friend, or the Bluefruit friend, the first product we made. And it's definitely there. And then you can see like all the changes in the firmware. It might be also under the DFU update tutorial, but there's a list of like what's changed. Also, you can check the GitHub repository where we store the firmware. There's also a list there.
Okay, this one I really liked it. There's more kids on the show and tell. Yay, but the show is on 2 a.m. in Europe. Kids over here cannot participate. Is there any way Adafruit can have a European show and tell? Here's what I suggest. Start a show and tell, and we'll publish and link to it. We're only a couple of people, and it's not scalable. And even if we were to try to hang out at 2 in the morning, which we do sometimes, it wouldn't work out long term. So this is the blueprint that we always say, like the show and tell works. There's a lot of people, a lot of young people in this particular time zone, even though it covers like 6 hours, is working out. So we really want people to steal this idea. please steal it. But I like that the average age of the person coming on the show and tell is getting younger.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice. Okay.
All right. New generation.
Yeah. So show and tell is yours. Do your best. We also noticed that the ask an engineer, ask a whatever for a video show is starting to become popular too. Even for I think it's a neat idea.
Oh yeah.
Where companies can have instead of traveling so much to conferences or whatever, you can have people interact with the people they want to talk to the most.
Yeah, over video.
You know, like
where we have video cameras.
Yeah.
It's like I'm there.
Yeah, and like you go to a fair amount of conferences. It's great individually, but it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It adds up, and it takes time away from like making the stuff and learning the stuff, and yeah.
No, totally.
Okay, I'll answer this next one, and then we'll do 2 actually.
Okay.
Can you use Bluetooth? Can Bluetooth and Energy pair together, one as a master and the other one as a slave?
Not at this time. That's a future Bluetooth capability that does not exist yet.
Okay. And then someone wants to know, where can I find more info on your video streaming setup? That you can go to forums.adafruit.com and search for Wirecast. And I had outlined the stuff that we use to run all of
People
this.
ask that a lot. And there's a lot of people ask about how you do your
Google asks, they're
setup.
like, how are you doing that? I don't really know how you're doing that. The setup isn't that complicated. Getting it all to work together is, which you've seen behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So that's having an engineer that's kind of moving fast for our desk of LADYADA has been a lot of fun, because she's switching between microscopes and overheads and desktop cams, and we're doing it all live.
It's exciting.
So check it out.
Non-edited, it's live editing.
And I'll give advice for the folks out there. It doesn't really matter. We used a free webcam for like 3 years. Just do it consistently. You'll get if you're really into it, you'll do it. It doesn't matter. Just do something on a regular basis and find the community or build the community you want.
We started with like a tablet and like a free webcam.
I mean, I used to have people even who work for us complain about the quality of the video. I'm like, right, like I'll get to it. Trust me. Just like we're moving.
Yeah,
we're doing it.
We had like a Wi-Fi, and we couldn't actually push more pixels out anyways. But now we have like a dedicated connection.
It was like a little 640 by 480 window, and it was when we would ship packages. You could watch us ship packages. Right. It was just Lamore and I late at night, and we'd answer questions in the chat. But we just do it every week, and that was the thing. So it really doesn't matter. Look at it like an art project. Performance art. Okay. All right, let's do the trivia question. Ready?
Now it's trivia question time.
Yeah, let's go to find trivia question. All right, got this graphic. Okay.
Paid for this graphic, you're gonna use it.
Yeah. Okay, LADYADA, what are the rules?
All right, rules are: if you have won something already on the show, you can't win again. Only one winner per lifetime. If you have won something, please don't give hints or like say it anyways and then say afterwards, "Oh, I've already won. Sorry about that." Just like go sit on your hands or play a video game or Uno or whatever, like solitaire, and let other people win a prize. The first person who enters in the answer on Twitch, Ustream, whatever, Phil sees the correct answer will win the prize, which is an @Wink 1500 breakout.
Oh wow, you're gonna do that?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, add Wi-Fi to your whatever.
Okay.
Cool.
The question this week is, happy birthday. This person, born 1959. It's on our time travel section.
On the blog.
American advocate of open source software. She was a board observer in Mozilla, member of the Apache Software Foundation, and she also joined PayPal as her first head of open source in 2014. So
you'll have to go to the blog.
Do you ever met her before?
And go to Time Travel Tuesday to find the name of this person.
Everybody wanted to be Nancy.
Well, Nancy
Lynch,
was awesome, but that's not her.
But you have to go to the time travel section.
No, you gotta go to the Time Travel section of our blog.
Yeah, like how everyone just assumes that it's who we should.
Oh,
really.
somebody.
All right. Greg McSwagger in Twitch. Congratulations, you won. It is Denise Cooper. So Denise Cooper, she's probably one of the most well-known open source advocates. She was at Sun, really pushed them to get into open source and really be open source. And if there's something that's out there that's open source, she's probably had something to do with it. So programmer, advocate, and super prolific. You can look at her work and more on our time travel post.
All right.
That's it. Congrats.
You win. Greg,
Yeah.
email support@adafruit.com and tell them that you won a PID 2999.
What is it?
PID 2999.
Okay, we have 3,000 products.
Yeah, we remember 3,000. Last time we had this was coming student circuit playground. This took an extra week to get done because I wanted to get the firmware update.
Okay. All right, that is the show for this week.
Yay! Whew.
All right, and thank you so much, Kate.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see everybody next week, same time, Wednesday, 8 p.m.
Yep, 7:30 for show and tell, 8 o'clock for Ask Engineer. We'll also probably have some Desk of LADYADA transmissions.
Yeah.
Maybe not tomorrow, we'll see, maybe. But almost certainly over the weekend we'll do at least one,
Okay.
unless I get sick.
All right. Here's a picture of a cat. It's mandatory. And here is your moment of Zener. Bye, everybody.